good morning. Welcome back, or if this is your first time, just welcome. I went back and forth on this one a lot because I wasn't sure I was going to do it, and I'm not sure I even have enough time before I leave to finish it. But I thought, no matter. I just got to make sure I take care of other things I'm committed to. So today, we're going to start diving into this Craftsman toolbox that I showed a couple of weeks ago. I think it'd be cool if it was fixed up. It's got some, let me remove you here. Okay, I think that's a little better angle. It's got some face rust that has to come off. The hardware is really rusty. The nameplate, surprisingly, is the best part. When you open it up, it's dented here, the side rails, and I'm sure there's a couple of small dents in the body I won't see until we start cleaning her up. So what I'm going to do, I decided, is disassemble it and either put it in the scrap metal pile or keep going. I do like that it's got the built-in socket dividers. That's pretty cool. And I'm sure I could come up with some uses for it besides that. So it was free, and that's a good price. So let's get the hardware off and take another look at it. One of them popped. There we go. Okay, we're gonna drill a little more on those. All right, I got it. I had to hold the back of the rivet because it was spinning while I drilled it. So filming really wasn't an option. Well, let's look at this real quick. I think this all, God, I hope not, but I think it might have to all come apart. And then obviously we'll keep working on the box. Let's set this piece aside for a bit. That's a shame because some of the paint is in great shape and some of it is not. I wanted to show you, this is Craftsman, this box, but what they did is they folded the sheet metal back so that the pin can't slide out on the hinge. So the first thing I need to do is straighten the metal out on each side, see if I can get it going one way or the other with a little WD and persuasion. But that's what we're dealing with. Okay, luckily I didn't go too long, but too long. Trying to tap this thing, get it started to slide, and it was not budging. And I don't know if you can see it, but I just realized that every other hinge point is center tapped in. This thing is tapped into place. Besides the ends where I showed you they were folded over, this thing's tapped in on every other one the whole way down. There's no way it's coming out, which kind of is a bummer because that means I can't go as deep as I wanted on it, but at least I figured it out before I got too far. So without further ado, I'm going to get I'm going to get the hardware off, and we'll attack this as one unit then. Again, not ideal, but it'll work. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this thing's worth it, but I'm kind of invested now. Got the trays off, the hardware off. I figure these I can wire brush as is and save a little bit of re-riveting. And the most disappointing part so far is that the box and the lid are not going to come apart. So I guess I'll give everything a wash and go from there. I'm just taking out whatever dents I can, which is most of them. They're coming out before I start sanding to get them ready for primer. I think I'm going to do the drawers first and then move on to the box. We'll see. Okay. 10-foot rule, right? All right, I'll finish those up and then I'll bring you back. So I'm getting these sanded out as best I can. Only a couple of areas are really stubborn. And then I'm going to get a good wipe down with mineral spirits, hang these up, and get a coat of primer on them before they decide to re-rust. It's a nice dry day here today, so that's a good thing. And then we'll move on. I think I'll switch back to doing some more hardware or maybe tackle the main box. I don't know. But that's where we're at, and so I'll be right back. I spared you the pain, but they look pretty good. You know, it's not a heavy coat. It's a make sure it's not going to rust coat. And all the bare metal's covered. It's when I do the paint, I'll shoot for a more even coat. And I think I'll do them a little differently so they're not spinning like tops. But okay, I'm kind of encouraged. So I think I'm going to tackle the main box because we're on a roll with this. I'm going to stick with hand sanding. I got to bang a couple of little dents out here, but I'm going to stick with hand sanding so that because I don't think a orbit sander is going to really help me much, and it's going to be really loud. So let me get these straightened out and we'll get this sanded up. And those little corners that were there to keep the rod from sliding out, you know, the rod that could never slide out, and straighten or bend those back into position. Okay. We'll just keep working at the dents. Okay, I went over those with steel wool, and they're really smooth. Smoother than I normally put into paint efforts. Can you see me? So I'm going with this matte, what's it called? Matte Spanish moss. I have a clear coat, so I don't care if it's matte, and I don't care about the original color because I want it to be something I like, which is green. So let me see if I can get something to hold it with. Yeah. So here's where we're at. The box is painted. I had to go to the store and get another can of paint. So I was a little bummed out about wasting time, but that's okay because these all got an extra coat. So hopefully that'll make a difference. Now in here, I have these parts. I straightened out the bent one and I wire brushed them, and they are actually soaking in WD-40. I cleaned this up. It's not perfect. You can tell, yeah, you see it? So I might do a little more, but I don't want to sacrifice the paint. So I'll see what I can do with a little aluminum polish because it's just aluminum tag. So that and those I have to polish, and assembly will be tomorrow, not today. All right, y'all, I'm a little nervous. I played with one of the rivets last night and it wasn't what I expected, but I think I used the wrong one and I just didn't. Anyway, I have to remember this is going to be a working toolbox. It's going to get scratched up, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So I probably won't film a lot of the assembly just because it's kind of new to me. But I will definitely add more to the video. Okay, I got that on. The rivet heads are a little big, I realized, but that's all right. I'd rather have it on than not on. What I did is I put a rag in the bottom. I put a piece of wood with the base on there, put the rivet, closed the box over it, holding it underneath, and then I was able to let that go, and jeez, tap, tap, bang, bang, and it was in. So you can see why I didn't film it while I was doing it. So I'm going to keep going. Okay, update. Everything on here is on. I'm not sure about all of this, but I think it was a good place to start. I'm learning. I've got a little better system, so we're just going to keep going and cross our fingers. I may attach these with pop rivets. I have them, and they'll be easier to, but we'll see. All right, just like that, she's done. Let me tell you some of the pitfalls I found. For one, the rivets I got they'd go in, but they weren't holding it as tight as I wanted it. So I switched to pop rivets. But before I did that, I riveted the side on that holds the inner tray, and I didn't realize it when I disassembled it. This rack can sit where it is, or one slot forward. There's double holes. And so when I went to close it, the top, see how tight that clearance is? Well, you move this forward 1/4 of an inch, it was hitting. That was after I was almost all completed putting it together. In addition, getting all these in and hooked up to the top, there's an order of operation that you have to do it in, or you're going to find yourself where, like, you can't get the back rivet in here. Anyway, so it came out okay. I'm not mad at it. I'm not disgruntled, a little bit disappointed with my lack of forethought, but that happens. I'm gonna let it sit now, and hang on, we have a guest. Good girl. So I'm gonna let it sit until I get back from our trip. We're leaving in a few days. And when I get back, by then the paint will be harder. I sprayed a little bit of paint, the leftover paint in the cap, and used it to touch up a couple of spots that got nicked up along the way. But it'll harden, and the ultimate goal, I wanted to show you, but I'm not gonna risk scratching it up, is to put all my Dremel stuff in here. You've seen it in the little box that it's in. This is just a little bigger. Everything will have its own space, so I'm really happy about that. And the price was amazing. So overall, now I remember why I don't do toolboxes. Hats off and hands to you if you do these regularly. I know Bill does over at Rollerball, and it's a lot of work. But I'm glad I did it. It was a fun learning experience, even though it sounds like I was frustrated. Well, I guess I was, but that was why it was a learning experience. All right, I'm gonna go get cleaned up and call it a day. Thanks for watching. See you next week.